Hi, nonfiction readers. Welcome back for our next session today. You are going to need a couple things to be successful with today's lesson. So I'm going to need you to get out your reading notebook, your nonfiction text that you want to read today, as well as a pen or a pencil. So over the last few days, we kind of asked you not to write while you were reading. Instead, to kind of just take in the text and orient yourself to the new text that you will be reading in this unit. Today, though, we're kind of turning a corner with our nonfiction reading, and your readers' notebooks are going to play an important part in doing that work. So starting today, you're going to be using your notebooks to take notes as you read. But it's important to think about how you're going to take those notes and how you're going to determine what is the most important information in the text that you are reading. So today I want to teach you that once readers move beyond just previewing expository text to actually reading them, they often notice that the text is organized in a special way. Expository texts have a few common text structures: problem solution, compare and contrast, cause and effect, and chronological order. So readers, I want to show you how you can determine what is the most important information in a text, and if you recognize the way the text is structured. If you don't know the structure of a text, if you can't tell how it's organized, you often feel like every piece of information is equally important. But when you know the structure, it's almost as if you're given a way to kind of highlight some of the key parts of the text and you're able to skim past the other parts. So instead of reading a text together today, we're gonna watch a video, and it's gonna be a news clip that I kind of want you to think about as a newspaper article. So while you watch this video, your aim is going to be kind of what most nonfiction readers' aim is going to be, and that's going to be you're going to want to learn about this topic. You're going to want to hold on to the most important information. So as you watch this video, I want you to record what you think is the most important information in this news clip in your reader's notebook. Okay? Go ahead and open up to a page in your reading notebook in the nonfiction section and get ready. The video clip is going to go quickly, so you're going to want to pay very close attention.
Animals. I'm surprised how white they are.
So before we listen one more time, I want to point out that you might have thought that this news article was kind of written in a main idea, supporting details, text structure. But I'd like you to think that it might be a little bit more complex than that. And I want you to keep in mind what some of our text structures are. So take a look at this chart. And as we listen one more time to the video, I want you to be listening for some transition words. Now, do you hear some transition words that might suggest that the text is in chronological order? It's kind of going in sequence. Do you hear a keyword of problem or solution, if, then, so, or that? That might suggest that we're looking at a text that's structured with problem solution. Cause and effects, these would be some transition words, and compare and contrast. So take a good look at that chart, and we're going to listen to the video one more time. And this time I want you to listen very carefully, because you're going to hear a clue very early on in the news article that's going to give you a hint of how this text is organized. And then once you think you've heard the clue and you know how the text is organized, then I want you to try to take some notes using that organization. Remember, the video does go quickly, so open up to a clean page in your reader's notebook and get ready to listen for some transition words that might suggest the organization of the news article.
from Canada cannot take his eyes off the animals.
Friends, I want you to listen really closely to this part.
Believe the Arabian oryx was almost extinct. Striking. It's hard to believe the Arabian oryx was almost extinct.
So, readers, when you hear that section that I replayed for you over again 2 times, what text structure are you thinking about? I have a feeling that most of you are suggesting that this text is organized in a problem and solution structure, right? I have a feeling many of you wrote down that the problem is that this Arabian oryx is in danger of becoming extinct, right? And if we kept on listening, we found out that it was becoming extinct because of overhunting and a threatened habitat. And then if we watched that video and we listened a little bit more carefully, we also heard the solution to that, right? The Phoenix Zoo took them in and saved them, and now there are 6,000 in the world. So the text structure kind of gives us clues and kind of help us to think about how we might organize this information in our notes. So nonfiction readers, the important thing is when you're watching or reading an expository text that you know how it's organized, because that structure is going to help you to organize your own notes in your notebooks and figure out what information is most important. So we're going to try this work again with our Read Aloud Everything Weather. And I'm going to be reading you a passage on droughts, and I want to show you the illustrations because they are pretty spectacular. The photographs, I should say. All right, so I want you to listen very carefully to this passage on droughts. And as I'm reading it to you, I want you to be listening to see if you hear any transition words, any clue words that might help you to figure out what the text structure is. Droughts are serious weather events. Droughts occur when an area does not get enough seasonal rainfall or snowmelt. As a result, the area's weather supplies shrink. Droughts can affect large geographic areas and have serious long-term effects on the land. Droughts can dry up creeks, rivers, and lakes, kill trees, and ruin crops, gardens, and lawns. Drought conditions also make wildfires more likely when lightning strikes dry ground. Any guesses yet? How do you think this passage of the text is structured? Take a second to think. I have a feeling that a lot of you are suggesting to me that the text structure is going to be cause and effect, right? Did you notice when I was reading that I used the word effect and affect? As a result, as a nonfiction reader, that tells us that something's happening. All right, now that we know the kind of mind work and note-taking that this section is asking us to do, we're probably going to be reading to learn more about how droughts happen and what happens after they occur. I'm going to reread this paragraph one more time, and as I do, I want you to take notes in your reading notebook to show what you're learning in a way that reflects the text structure of cause and effect. Droughts. Droughts are serious weather events. Droughts occur in an area when an area does not get enough seasonal rainfall or snowmelt. As a result, the area's water supplies shrink. Droughts can affect large geographic areas and have serious long-term effects on the land. Droughts can dry up creeks, rivers, and lakes, kill trees and ruin crops, gardens, and lawns. Drought conditions also make wildfires more likely when lightning strikes dry ground. Okay, friends, I want you to take a moment, and I want you to talk about what are the causes and effects of droughts. All right, let's see if you also jot it down in your notebook, the causes and effects that I was thinking of. So in this case, I use C for cause, and we know that a drought occurs when there's not enough rain or snowfall. And then as a result, what happens? That's an effect, right? So as a result, all of these things happen when we don't have enough rain. The effects are that we have a shrinking water supply, that our water sources, like creeks and rivers and lakes, they dry up, and then there's a lot more wildfires. They're much more likely to occur. So nonfiction readers, today I'm going to ask you to read your nonfiction differently. I want you to maybe use some Post-it notes, and I want you to use your reading notebooks. And as you're reading today, I want you to take note of our chart here, and I want you to think about, can you figure out perhaps what text structure, how is your text organized? And use this chart in order to help you and listen for some of those clue words that will help signify what type of text structure. So you have a lot to do today, friends. So open up those nonfiction books, get your notebook out, and happy reading. Off you go.